You are watching Cable 10, Aurora, Illinois Community Access Channel.
Wayne's World! Wayne's World! Party time! Excellent! All right, welcome to Wayne's World, and here's your host, Wayne Campbell. Party! Okay. All right. It's Friday. It's 10:30. It's time to party. Welcome to Wayne's World. I'm your excellent host, Wayne Campbell, and with me, as always, is Garth.
Party on, Wayne.
A party on, Garth. Right. Okay. We had an excellent summer.
Excellent.
Capped off by an even better Halloween. My girlfriend, Cassandra, went as a brick, and I went as a bricklayer. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay.
I went as Barney, the purple dinosaur. I got my ass kicked.
Ooh. Okay, that was pretty harsh. Okay, but of course the main thing that we've been up to is going to the movies. And so with that in mind, let's go to the movies.
It's Wayne's World at the movies. Party time. Excellent. Woo!
Okay, all right. Well, one of the first movies that we saw was The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford. Man, I thought it was excellent.
I thought it was mega excellent. But you know, I think it would have been better if the one-armed man was like the one-legged babe or the no index finger guy.
Yeah. Hey, you know, they should probably get that guy Bobbitt to do the sequel. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the piano. All right. This movie sucked.
This movie sucked. This movie sucked. This movie sucked. This movie sucked.
I mean, like, yeah, right? It was such a chick movie, man.
Total chick movie.
Yeah.
Okay, My Life with Michael Keaton and Nicole Kidman. I thought it was great.
Oh, man, I thought it was excellent. You know, everybody told me that I would, like, cry through the whole thing, but I didn't. Of course, as if I'm gonna cry during that scene where Michael Keaton's baby is born. And then he thanks God for letting him live long enough to see it.
When he tells his dad that he loves him.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to something lighter. Okay. This next movie. This next movie was excellent, albeit obscure. It came out during the spring. It was called The Leprechaun. And
oh yeah, the Leprechaun. Cool. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, it was really excellent. It was about this mythical elven creature with a really wicked tooth. Do you remember that guy? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I'm the leprechaun. Don't steal me, Patrick.
Stop it! You're scaring me, leprechaun, man.
I'm the leprechaun. Okay, It's okay.
But I saw the leprechaun, man.
No, it's me, Garth.
But I saw the leprechaun.
Pixie dust. Okay? Pixie dust.
But I thought you were...
I know. You thought I was the leprechaun. I'm the leprechaun. Okay, calm down. It's me.
But I thought I saw the leprechaun, man.
No, I know. Okay. Pixie dust. Pixie dust, Garth. Pixie dust. We're in Aurora.
We are?
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah, it's okay. We're not in Ireland. I'm the leprechaun. Okay, sweetie. Pixie dust. Okay? Alright, let's move on to The Remains of the Day, starring Academy Awards winner Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson. I thought it was a tour de force portrayal of the repressed emotions of the English psyche, set against the backdrop of fascistic pre-war Britain. I thought it was breathtaking.
Sucked. Okay, Carlito's Way. I liked it.
Oh, yeah, I really liked it. Hey, I love the ads for that movie, It went Pacino from the man who did The Godfather,
Serpico,
Dante Afternoon,
Scarface.
But hey, you notice how they didn't do Cruising?
Why? Why?
I don't get it.
Like, why? Okay.
Something's missing. Okay. Okay. Jurassic Park. Oh man, I loved it.
Yeah, it was real cool and real scary.
Yeah.
And that Laura Dern, boy, she's a babosaurus.
Swing. She's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a major chickadactyl. Okay. All right. And of course, we saw one final movie. And that movie was called
Recorded in Mark's Basement, it's Metrotham Tonight!
Tennessee, with special guest Karan Ashley. Here's your hosts, Dustin Daigle and Brian Rand, and this is Metrotham Tonight.
Okay, guys. All right. Calm down. We gotta start the show, guys. Calm down. All right. Welcome to the first ever episode of Metrotham Tonight. We wanted to bring this to you guys so much. I'll be your host for this evening, Brian Rand, and with me is the Cantina Band. Killing it in the middle. Killing it. Our main host, Dustin Daigle, actually won't be with us tonight because we didn't want to do this over camera, but Dustin, you're fired. So we need you to bring all your Metrotham stuff to Mark's place. I'm just kidding, everybody. No, calm down. It's okay, everybody. I'm just kidding. He's actually out in Vegas getting married. Yeah, getting married out in Vegas. So, stay away from the strippers and cocaine, Dustin. It's good advice, people. It's good advice. Calm down. It's cool. All right. So we have an excellent show lined up for you guys this evening. We have the lovely Karan Ashley as our first guest on Metrotham Tonight. It's going to be so much fun. We got a great interview with her. And then, just getting into it. We got a lot of big stuff going around the world right now. HBO actually greenlit a Green Lantern series. So, in Brightest Day and Blackest Night, will Ryan Reynolds reprise his role as the Emerald Knight? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Let's hope not, though. Let's hope not, right? Yeah, okay. All right, okay. Secondly, Disney has just announced that they will be making a live action Space Mountain movie, right? I mean, how are you going to turn a 3-minute ride into a full-length feature film? I do not know, but Disney will figure it out. Disney will figure it out. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We've got a Witcher prequel series just got announced by Netflix. So, in case you were wondering what's going to happen in The Witcher, now you get to know what happened before The Witcher even started. Yay, right? That's always nice. In other news, J.J. Abrams is actually going to be doing the Justice League Dark and the Shining series. So, here's J.J. Screwing up more of the fandom. Am I right, Star Wars fans? Yeah! And speaking of Star Wars, actually, the Hacksmith YouTube channel just created the first ever plasma-based retractable lightsaber. Burns at over 4,000 degrees. Isn't that nuts? That's crazy. That's huge news, guys. If you watch the YouTube video, it essentially teaches you how to make your own. So hopefully we don't have a lot of nerds' houses burning down. Right, guys? Let them figure it out. Let them figure it out. We'll get ours later on. Lightsabers are coming. Okay, guys? Calm down, all right? And without further ado, let's pass it on off to Karan Ashley. Yeah!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you've all been waiting for, we have Miss Karan Ashley here with us.
Yay! Thank you.
First guest on Metrotham Tonight. We are super excited to have you.
I love it.
So, how are you today, Karan?
I'm good. I'm like everyone else in the world, trying to carry on through a crazy time, but I'm really good. Really, really good. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be the first guest. I can't believe that.
Well, we're honored to have you.
Yeah, we're honored to have you. We're super excited to have you.
Yes.
And glad that quarantine hasn't made you stir crazy.
You know what? I went through a phase where I was, but I actually found my groove. Like, I just let it go. Like, I realized I was just obsessing over things that I couldn't change. So I finally just said, let it go. Who cares if you stay up till 3-4 in the morning every night? Like, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody's gonna kind of find their daily routine anyway.
Yeah.
Especially in times like this. So yeah.
Just wake up whenever you want to, press that Frozen song, and just let it go. All day. Walking in the PJs at 5 p.m. Don't care.
That part I love. Pajama pants all day is the best thing that's ever happened to my life.
All right, Karan. Now we're going to get into some questions that we definitely want to ask you. We're going to go through all throughout your career. And first, starting off with Crush. OMG Crush. Let's Get Together, Mo Money soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How was that starting out in because you were still in high school, if I'm not mistaken.
I was in junior high when we signed our contract. We had started the group. It was so funny. I lied about my age there was like a show. It was kind of like a Soul Train kind of show, but it was local to the local radio station in Dallas. And I lied about my age to be able to audition for that show. And I got on. And the day that I got on, I met this girl named Christy, who's one of the members of Crush. Mm-hmm. And we also met our manager, who he was working as a PA. And he just saw us and was like, have you girls ever thought about being in a singing group? And that was like, I wanted to perform in any way possible. I wanted to be an actor, a singer, a dancer, a mom, anything. So in that moment, Crush was born. And I remember like 2 weeks later, he sent us a demo tape and said, learn these songs and let's see what happens. And we did. We learned them and we recorded them and we started our journey, and we ended up adding a third member. And we just said, let's see what happens. And he goes, if you work hard for a year, you'll get to do a show. So we literally had to practice every weekend for a year just so that we could have our first live performance. And we performed at the Hard Rock Cafe. And in that time, we would we were recording demos and we were recording videos, and he was submitting us to different record labels, and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis saw our video, and it took about a year, but he basically got us in front of them, and they were like, we want to sign them. So I signed a record contract when I was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
I was super young, and I thought, okay, I made it.
12 years old. 12 years old.
Yes, and I was signed, and I did Crush for about 5 years. And I mean, literally, I always say that Crush taught me my work ethic, because we had to practice, and I didn't get to do cheerleading. I didn't get to do extracurricular activities. I did Crush. Crush was the one thing that I did. And during that time, it's funny, I had my first audition. They were looking for singers, and we auditioned for Sister Act 2. And this is around, I was around 15 or 16 at the time. But I remember doing that audition and just having to prepare and learn the lines, and just they were self-taping us, so we had to get videotaped. And I just remember going, I want to be an actress. Crush is amazing, and I'm gonna do it, obviously. But when I graduate, I'm moving to LA. I don't care what the girls say. I'm gonna become an actress. And it was just, I ended up auditioning for Power Rangers 2 months after I graduated high school, and within 4 days I was shipped to LA. So it was it all happened.
Oh wow. There you go. Speaking of which, with the 2 months that now you're a Power Ranger, didn't they ship you off because your first appearance was for the movie, right?
Well, actually, we got to LA, and they said, we have about a month and a half. We need to shoot as many episodes as possible. And I mean, when we were cast, we went to an audition, and 4 days later, we were in front of producers auditioning for them. So it went from we didn't even know that we were replacing Power Rangers. We thought we were joining the team. Okay. But when we found out, they were look, we're picking 3 people, and it was thousands of people. It was this nationwide search, but they did it within a week. And within 4 days, they had flown us to LA, and we auditioned for them. And that afternoon, they said, you got the part. And so we were just floored, but they told us, they said, you're going to go do the movie. So we knew instantly we got the movie and the television show, and they said, you're leaving. I know. I was like, golden ticket. We got the golden ticket. But they said, you're going to, we have a month and a half, and we need to shoot as many episodes as possible. You're going to work weekends. You're going to work every day, every moment of your life. Don't expect to have a day off, but we got to get this done. And so we were like, okay, we didn't care. And we shot about 20 episodes. And then we left, and we went and started shooting the movie. So it was almost instantaneous. I worked on Power Rangers. I think it was a year and a half that I was on the show. And I mean, I did 80 episodes in a movie. So, I mean, you can imagine the work schedule. It was
right out of high
nonstop.
Going
into
it. That's pretty intense. Yeah.
Intense.
She's running in oh yeah, did you not hear about Crush and our intense training? Yeah.
Well, I will say this. When I was in Crush, my manager, he always used to tell us, he goes, one day I'm going to pull the plug. Because I don't know if you remember, back in the day, Milli Vanilli, they were lip singing, and someone pulled the plug, and that's how they got found out. They couldn't continue the singing. So he was like, one day I'm going to do that to you live, and you guys have to just keep singing. And we were like, yeah, right, he's not going to ruin our show. Well, he ended up doing that to us at one point, just so that we would keep dancing, keep moving, keep singing. When I went on that first audition for Power Rangers, I remember they had me do a monologue, so I did that. And then she goes, what do? Because you have to be a martial artist, a dancer, or a gymnast. And I was like, I'm a dancer. And she was like, okay, dance. And so I was like, well, here's my song. And she goes, we don't have a radio. And literally that moment of the plug being pulled, I was like, okay, you got to do it.
All right.
Yeah. Hit it.
It's all coming full circle. Yeah.
Crush got me ready, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. Can I ask one?
I mean, sure. Yeah. No, I can ask questions too every now and again. The guy.
Yes, please.
As well. So,
over the past few years, especially the last few years with all the Marvel movies and everything, and just the rise of nerd culture, has that opened up any doors or any new opportunities for you, or have you kind of explored that realm or anything?
You know what? I mean, definitely. I think that it has really opened up doors as far as Comic-Cons. I mean, we went from there being a few Comic-Cons to now there's one in almost every major city. There's over 100 shows. And Power Rangers has become one of those, like we were some of the first superheroes, as far as like a multicultural cast. And then seeing like Marvel, everyone is represented in the Marvel community. And so it's one of those beautiful things that, it's just made that industry go crazy. And I remember doing a show and the cast of Captain America was at the show. And I mean, it was like the Beatles were in the house, but it was like so amazing. Like we're in the green room and the gentleman who plays Hawkeye, he was like, oh my God, it's the Power Rangers. And we were just like, oh my God.
Jeremy Renner's like, oh my God, the Power Rangers. And the Power Rangers like, oh my God, it's Hawkeye.
It's you. Yeah. No, I was like, so like, oh my gosh, the Captain America because I'm a huge Marvel fan. And so I do believe it's opened up though, because it's one of those things where those movies reflect what is happening in the world. You're fighting for justice, you're fighting for, and it's everybody fighting together. And I mean, you guys have seen the marches and the protests that have been happening recently. It's everyone marching and protesting together, and that's a beautiful thing. I just think that it's one of those things when we realize the most important thing is for us to be together as human beings and to be together as one, fighting one cause. We don't all have to agree on every single topic, but when we know something's wrong, we need to say something. We need to do something. And I think those Marvel movies are great, examples of people doing that, because most of them are just average people who get these extraordinary opportunities put on them, or they get these powers they didn't expect, and they decide to, at one point in the movie, to stand up. They decide to fight for what's theirs and what's right.
Marvel does that great. One of my favorite representations of what you're talking about is Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
They're talking about anybody can put on the mask. Like there's nothing special. He just happens to have powers, but anybody can put on the mask and stand up for what's right.
Exactly. I love it. I love what they're doing. Like that's one thing I can say is they've got it right. Like they ended up getting the right people who are writing. It's almost like they're geeks like all of us. They get the right people who add what we need in a movie, and they've also cast really well. Like the people who've brought these characters to life are amazing. But I love the Spider-Verse as well. It's one of my faves.
Excellent movie.
And then going on of what you were talking about earlier about the multicultural aspect to a show.
Yes.
When you and Johnny Young Bosch came onto the scene, like the multiculturalness of Power Rangers really busted wide open during that season. And do you think that kind of set the course for other shows, especially kids shows, or to have a multicultural cast with it? Because it wasn't until, I watched that when I was a kid. It wasn't until watched older interviews with you and other Rangers and stuff like that really sunk in, that I was like, oh my God, every member of the Power Rangers, it's a different race. It's all these people coming together for a Do you think that kind of put the first step out there for more shows, especially with kids shows, to be represented like that?
We were ahead of the curve. And I think that what was beautiful is that, a lot of times people the first season, they got kind of hung up on, the Black Ranger's black and the Yellow Ranger's yellow. And it was like the creators of Power Rangers weren't from America. So they didn't even think of it that way. They just wanted, they really wanted a multicultural cast. And it's funny because Johnny and I did an interview recently, and he goes, we came on to right a lot of wrongs. and we all just laughed, they had to like change it up, God forbid, so. But what I think what happened in season 2 was that the show just really started to find its stride. It was a well-oiled machine when we got on there. But it was funny because race was the thing that was kind of like that underlying like every episode, you had girls who were being heroes. You had, the smart guy was super popular. It was like all these unsung heroes, and race was one of those things we never talked about on the show, but we were all friends and we all figured out a way to find each other and need each other and support each other. And so I think it's like Power Rangers was so ahead of the curve, and I wished Hollywood would follow, but still we've had people in Hollywood who are like, they can't seem to get it right. Like this season, I think they just announced the Emmys, and there was a record number of Black actors who were nominated. So it's like the most that's ever happened in Emmy history. But there were 0 Latinx actors who were not like, so it's almost like, why can't we can imagine dragons, we can imagine vampires, we can imagine zombies, but we can't imagine a world where we're all together, or where we all can be accomplished and we can all be recognized. So I always say Power Rangers was ahead of its time, and I wish Hollywood would catch up to what we were doing, because honestly I think it was a beautiful thing for kids to see themselves as heroes. Like every single kid had a kid. Like there was a kid with long hair who was a Power Ranger. There was a kid who was the smart guy who normally wouldn't be popular in this kind of a circle, but he was one of the most popular. There was a sassy Black girl, I mean, it's like every kid had them who could see themselves on TV. And I just think that's so important for a small child to be able to look up and go, wow, mommy, that's me. And to really identify, and it really added to the success of the show. Like I think you can say it's the karate or it's the monsters, but what we noticed is when kids saw us fight as ourselves, they went crazy.
Yeah.
And then when we started fighting as Power Rangers, the excitement just carried on. But that was what really got them, was seeing someone that looked like them save the world.
Exactly.
So
Especially with that size of a platform, to reach out to that many kids is really
it's so weird, because they told us once, like they were like, there was like this study that was done, and at the height of Power Rangers in like season 1, 2, and 3, which was like the best that it was as far as ratings, they said that they did some sort of study, and we were in every 8 homes. So 8 out of 10 we were in those homes, and it was like that was unheard of. Yeah, and they would always come up to us and say, "You're the #1 kid show in the world," and we were like, what does that mean? Like I don't even understand the concept of that. And it wasn't until we started doing Comic-Cons and we went to like Jakarta, Indonesia, and they don't speak English, but they can sing the Power Ranger theme song. And there's like a little kid singing the words. And you're like, they go, Aisha, but they can't even say one sentence in English. But they know you, they know your character, and we've gone everywhere, all over the world to Comic-Cons, and they know Power Rangers. It's so then I was like, okay, I get it. We were #1 in the world. This is so crazy.
You see, and when you're a kid, when you look at something like that, superheroes, Power Rangers, or anything, you always have your fantasy life afterwards. You always like, I want to be a Power Ranger, and then also to have that clear representation. Not only just of yourself, like you can really see yourself as a Power Ranger, as this person. And then with the uprising, because I mean, look at me, I was a kid when you guys were doing the show, and I absolutely loved it, still to this day.
I love it.
To have people my age or even older that know the show and then bring their kids up to you, and then they're excited about it, like you're hitting multi-generational awesomeness.
I think what happened was we really got on a cool wave, because the show was super popular, and when we first started doing cons, I think we started doing them like 12 years ago, it was all of our fans had grown up. Like they were all, now they could come and go to a Comic-Con, stand in line, and they were like so happy to meet us. And then it came out on DVD. So everyone was buying like the full series, and they were just going crazy. And then it got on Netflix. And when it got on Netflix, it was like we went from being asked to come to shows 5 times a year to like, now you could literally do 30 shows a year if you want to. If you want to sign up and leave every weekend, you can go to a Comic-Con somewhere. And it's so crazy, because now kids, we don't know who to talk to, because they walk up and we're like, hey, and like all the adults turn to 5-year-olds. Like, we see it, their eyes just like light up, and we're like, hey, and then the little kid is like, oh my god, boo, boo, boo. And so we're like, well, who do I make this out to? And you're looking at the little kid, and the dad like pushes the kid out of the way, and he goes, the autograph is mine. I'm the original fan.
Well, look, I feel you on that one. I met you last year at Dragon Con with Mark, and I turned into a 5-year-old when I first met you. I had to wield it back towards the end, but I was fangirling out hardcore when I met you.
I love it.
Yep.
All right,
and then
so
me and you met at MomoCon.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It's so great. It's just, I mean, for me, it's like, we did the show and we had all these, like, we were adults, and I mean, we were young adults, but we did this show and it happened so fast, and there was so many things that happened, and we all usually left the show for reasons that were probably more adult reasons than, but as far as doing the show, we loved it. We had fun. We had great time with our cast, and it's such a really cool thing to get the opportunity to almost fall back in love with what we did 25 years ago, and we fall in love with your version of it. Like, it's like we're reliving every moment of it through your eyes. So it's such a blessing. I mean, I don't know. It's the greatest thing.
You're hitting me in all the feels right now.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more Ranger question before we get on to other
You
stuff.
can ask me as many as you want.
Last year at Momo,
yes.
During one of the interviews there, one of your panels, you brought up the fact that the Rangers aren't unionized, and that the Rangers the actors weren't treated correctly by the studios. They took advantage of that. The studios are taking advantage of the actors. Now, in that time, have you seen any changes in the studio's attitude? Has there been somebody that went out and tried to unionize them? Have you seen any changes with that, or is it still kind of the same?
Unfortunately, it's the same. They are a non-union show, and when we say union, it's basically like with the union, you have to be paid a certain amount of money. Like, we would never have been able to do that first season. They would not have allowed us to work 6-7 days a week. They would not have allowed us to work 12, 15-hour days. They would not have allowed that kind of schedule, just because it's a lot. You can't. It's almost like. I told someone, I think in the course of a year and a half, I might have had a month off. Like, if you put all the days together, it was a lot, but no, they haven't. I mean, the union has tried to, SAG has tried to make them go union. And when that happened, they did for a minute. And that's when I think Disney owned it. They were a union show then. But when Saban bought the show back, they just ended up moving the show to New Zealand. So now they shoot in New Zealand. And I think that's one of the big reasons why, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I always feel like the creators of Power Rangers, God bless them, they created this amazing show, and they hold such value in that. And I agree. It was an amazing idea, but you also, on the other side of the coin, have to give credit to the actors who brought these characters to life.
Exactly.
There have been many seasons that, they kind of just, it didn't connect. But we did almost close to 200 episodes on Mighty Morphin, and we did a movie. So it's one of those things, you really have to give credit to actors who brought it to life. Otherwise, it's just words on a page,
I was just about to say that same thing.
Kids connected to us, and so they don't, pay people the way that they should. They don't treat actors at least I feel the way that they should. I hope with Hasbro owning it now, it's different. I don't know. It's unfortunate, but like, we don't own
Rangers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because for everyone, it's been a stepping stone. It's been a true stepping stone onto opening the door to your career. But it hasn't been none of us have gotten rich off the show. None of us, own the rights to the toys. None of us own a costume unless you stole it. Like, it's it's not
to my next question. What have you taken from the show? Any replicas that we could fight scene.
Man, that's the only thing I tell people. If I could do it all over again, I would have stole everything. But I didn't. I thought, like, if you take something, you're gonna get fired, And if I would have known, I would have just been like, well, I'm gonna take it. What are they gonna do to me?
I'm gonna take this morpher. I'm gonna take that helmet. You know what? I'm gonna take Jason's helmet too.
Yeah, I wish I would have, because I mean, but what I will say is I do have like. I've got all those things, a morpher, a helmet, and all those things, but they've all been, given to me by fans who've made them.
That's really
There's a time when a lot of fans like they want to make you a replica. I was in I forget, I was in Germany somewhere, and they made me these really cool dragon daggers. And I mean, they look like what we would have used. They actually look better than what I would have used on the show. And at least I know it was made with love from a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell.
But I don't know anything. I should have taken it all. I was under the impression you weren't supposed to steal. Now I know better.
Well, heck, there's so many people making these replicas that look almost 10 times better than what you would have seen.
Way better.
Or a movie that you probably got the better end of the deal.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that was on the show was so low budget. I mean, you guys will see episodes. There's like duct tape on stuff, and the poor prop company the prop guys, they would just have to make it happen. And a lot of times they were making stuff out of, like, they'd go to thrift stores and make props and stuff out of things they just found.
One of Goldar's arms are falling off.
Right.
Goldar's arm.
Get the hot glue gun out.
All I have is these zip ties and a hot glue gun.
Here's more duct tape.
Use more duct tape,
exactly.
All right. So going on to a little bit after the Rangers now.
Yes.
I want to bring up Devin's Ghost. Ghost. Okay. That was it wasn't your first credited writing or your first writing credit, but you did help write the movie, correct?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Well, it was funny because we'd gotten some money and we were going to produce our first, like, it was like my second film. We were going to produce our second film, and we'd gotten some investors and gotten some money. And so we said, what can we make that's cheap? Because, we wanted to do this. I wanted to make sure there was action involved.
Mm-hmm.
I had called Johnny and was like, hey, you want to be a part of this movie? And he was like, yeah, I'm down. But we couldn't, do like a sci-fi movie because we didn't have enough money. We didn't have any money for like special effects. We couldn't do, all these other ideas. And we thought, well, horror films, they're almost known for being, low budget blues movies. So why not, And so we tipped our hat at doing that film. And it's funny because we called on some of our Power Ranger friends. In the movie, the bad guy, Devin, he carries a bat and it has like these blades on it. Yeah. And one of the prop makers from Power Rangers actually made those bats for us. Like they made us a real bat, and then they made us the bat that you can actually hit people with. And then he made us like 3 of them so that, you had one for camera that looked really good. And then Koichi Sakamoto, who was like one of the second unit directors and ended up being one of the executive producers of Power Ranger, he came and he was like, I'm in LA for a month. If you can use me, I can do it. I can give you 2 weeks. And so we hired Koichi, and Koichi actually directed all of the action sequences. So all the fights that you see in there that look really great are because of Koichi, who is an amazing director, an amazing stunt guy, and him and his stunt team came on board and made us look really good. So,
which brings me to another point. This is why I wanted to bring up Devin's Ghost. Because I go online and I hear good things. I hear smack talk about it. But I love the fact, because you don't see this with Mike Myers. You don't see it with Jason. You don't see the victims are black belts. Okay? I would think that
right.
Mike Myers, all of that stuff would be completely different if their victims knew karate. You know what I mean?
They could punch back.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see the victims punching back. You see them running away, or, oh no, he's there. I'm just going to scream for a second. Yeah. No.
Yes.
Aaron and sidekick the crap out of that guy into the wall and then speed away.
Yeah,
I think more horror films, more aspects of people knowing karate. I wish you would make another one.
Too funny. Well, you know what's so funny is that there's another person in Devin's Ghost, and I always forget to bring this up, but Johnny Cruz, who's the voice of Lucio, for he's actually in the movie, and he credits us for giving him his first job. And I'm like, what? That was his first acting gig. Like he went in and he auditioned. He came in and auditioned for it, and he was honestly the best one. And we hired him, and we laugh now because we do Comic-Cons together, but he was amazing, amazing actor. Now he's like super successful in the video game voiceover world, but he's an amazing actor. So yeah.
But that's so
Devin's
awesome.
Ghost had everyone in there. They're all hiding in there.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I love seeing Johnny in there.
Yeah. Johnny
Gosh.
actually took over because we were gonna hire another director, but Koichi was like, "You should hire Johnny. Johnny can handle directing the rest of this film." And so he jumped in the director's chair and was amazing. He did a great job.
Director.
That's awesome.
And
That's so
coming
cool.
up and
Yeah.
kicking Devin's butt at the same time.
Making dreams come true.
That's right. All right. Now, we know that you have something in the works right now called The Order.
Yes.
I've seen a little bit of the comic book that's out. But for those that don't know, it's going to be pretty much all Power Ranger cast, right? You supposedly have like 15 Power Ranger alums coming onto the project?
Yeah. It's so funny because it started off as a film, and we have been we got really close to almost shooting it, and we had like some issues with the union that kind of stopped us dead in our tracks. But since then, it almost was a blessing that happened, because since then we have actually reimagined the project as a television series. And so we're actually in the process of pitching it to different networks, and we've teamed up with some really cool people who believe in this project. But you're right. A good majority of the people who are going to be in the movie are former Power Rangers. And I just felt like it was so weird because we would be doing all these shows together and we all get along really well. And we'd always say, I hope we get to work together. I hope we get to work together. And it seems like every 2 years, Power Rangers will bring, a couple people back for reunion episodes. But it's not really anything that just showcases people's talents. Like I'll always say, Power Rangers is like 1% of what the actors who are on the show, what they can do. Yeah. All these people are super talented actors. They've gone on to do other shows. They've gone on to do other things. And I thought, creating the Order and writing it, I said, what I want to do is I want to write something that shows them in a different light and shows them doing something differently. And why wouldn't we tap into an already established fan group that wants to see that? I remember there was this fan film that came out that was dark, and it was like right around the time when we were going, do you think that they would want to see us this way? And it was like they put this fan film out and 1 million people watched it in one day. And I was like, they want to see us. Yeah. They want to see us, be assassins or be vigilantes. They want to see modern action sequences. We don't have to be wearing spandex for them to notice, and for them to pay attention.
What did take over the world? What if a Power Ranger went rogue? What
right.
things that we do need to see? Yeah. I would be first on the mic stand tapping it, just like, yes, we would definitely like to see.
So we actually did. I when we were kind of raising money to do it, we did like a 3-day shoot. And I just invited everyone out and was like, look, guys, it's going to be hardcore. We don't have any money, so we just got to learn the fights on set, And everybody showed up, and they did an amazing job. But when fans saw it, they got it. Like, I was like, we have to show them that we're not going to be Power Rangers. The one common concept of the Order is that, we were on the show as Power Ranger actors, but we're not Power Rangers in this project. So, but it's really cool. Like, I'm praying that we can get it in front of the right people, because I just feel like it gives me the opportunity as a television series to not just bring in the 15 that have already said, I want to do it, but to bring in as many as I can, but also bring in other actors, because Marina Sirtis has signed on to want to be in it. Gigi Edgley's a part of the project. Nice. So everyone who I meet at Comic-Cons, they're like, hey, what's this Order thing? I want to be down. Like, it's like we've got a lot of actors from a lot of fandoms that want to be a part of it. And I have to give credit because me and David Fielding is Zordon, he and I created the show together, and we wrote.
Very cool.
And it's funny because quarantine has actually been really good for me because we wrote the pilot and the pilot's been done, but I ended up writing the second episode. Like I just was like, I'm gonna just write it. I'm feeling it, and I'm on my third episode, so I'm just like, I'm gonna keep writing, and maybe I'll have the whole series done by the time we get to go out in the world.
I'm at home. I'm at home. I got my writing PJs on. Let's do this.
Let's do this. It's hardcore because when you're a writer, I tell people all the time, they ask me like, how can I get in this business? And I'm like, well, if you're a writer, you need to write every day. Like you almost have a friend of mine who's a writer on a television show once told me, he goes, I write every day for 4 hours. And sometimes I write a script. Sometimes I write a sentence. But you have to sit there and go, I'm going to write. And he goes, and sometimes I'll just sit there and look at my scripts and like edit them down and edit myself. He goes, and then sometimes I can't stop writing and I write for 2 days straight. It just depends.
You got to have a passion behind it.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
You're gonna do something, you have to want to do it. If
exactly.
You start writing and then the third day you're into it and you're like, you know what? I don't feel like writing today. Then writing is not the thing for you. And that could be said about pretty much anything, but like, it's something you have to do it.
And it's really like, I mean, I go through writer's block all the time just because I'm really trying to, I have all these like shows that I love and I'm like, I really want this show to keep you hooked. And there are a lot of characters and it's kind of an ensemble cast and, you're bringing people in and out of here and I want to give everyone a moment. So there are a lot of things that you have to juggle. But what I found is that sometimes I just have to walk away from it. And I spend those hours just like thinking like, okay, I remember there was this one scene recently and I was like, it just isn't feeling right to me. It isn't what I think it should be. And so for like 4 days, I just like would lay around and was like, okay, what would they do in that moment? What makes more sense? And I go, you know what? It's going to hit you. It's going to hit you. It always does. You just got to give it time to breathe. And literally like 4 days later, I was like, oh my gosh, I know how to fix it. And it's like the best feeling ever.
I call those the shower moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
The shower moments when you're thinking about something all day and you're thinking intensively on it and you're just like, oh my God, what is that? And then you go home, you're in the shower, you're not thinking about anything. You're just scrub-a-dub-dubbing away. And then you're like, oh my God, that was what I was, boom. That's what
there it is. Yeah. And it just goes to show like you just have to be committed and you almost have to I always say I always rely on my faith. And so I'm like, I just have to have faith. I have to have faith that it's going to come, and I tell people all the time, if you want to get in this industry, whether you want to be an actor, whether you want to be a director, you want to be a producer, I mean, there are certain things you need to learn. You need to go. And I strongly encourage going to class or going to school. And especially if you want to be a director, you got to learn technical things. There are a lot of technicalities that you want to learn. And you may find out that you don't want to be a director. You may want to be a cameraman. You may want to be a cinematographer. Or you may want to be a makeup artist. You might find that there's something else in that realm of opportunity that you really want to do. But there are all these really cool jobs in this industry. But what I will say is that you have to stay faithful. And you've got to kind of put in the work and you just got to, it's almost like a journey. It's not like even being an actor, it's not you're going to get a million no's and get only a few yeses. And it's just a matter of staying creative and staying on the journey and just continuing the process. And that has honestly been what saved me. I have taken the vow to not go out. I'm like, I don't want to get coronavirus. I don't want it. I don't feel like being sick. And LA is like one of the hot spots.
Yep.
So, even like my one outing a week is the grocery store and I'm like masked. I got a shield, I'm just like, I don't want to get something they don't know how to fix, or give it to my family. So I want to be super cautious, but I'm going on 5 months of being like, I mean, I know the day, March 12th was the day they said they canceled a con and they said, LA is closed. And I just was like, okay, I'm home. Here we are, it's August, and I'm still home. But being creative has saved my life.
Mhm.
Having something to working on, we cut a new trailer for our pitch. I've been writing scripts. That has literally saved my life. I went from being stir crazy going, how am I going to do this, to, oh my God, I love all this time,
Yeah, taking advantage of the time that you have. That's been,
Yeah.
if there's anything that advice to go out to people that are stuck in the home during quarantine, use your time wisely. I
Yeah.
remember when I was out of work, I had to spend my time, and at first I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I'm gonna start working on the show. So I did more
Yeah.
stuff for the show. I started playing music more. It's
Mhm.
all about taking the time to do stuff that you're passionate about. It's not going to work and doing what your boss tells you. Now you have your own time to do what you want to do.
Exactly. And I always say, like we've always said, if I have the time, I'd write a book. If I had the time, I'd start painting.
Now
We
you
always,
have the time.
now
You
we have the
time now.
time. Yeah. Or just connect to something, because what I will say is creativity is free. That comes from you.
You don't
No
need
one,
to switch
can, yeah, you don't have to pay to, you may need like, oh, I need this or I need that in order to do it properly. But if you've got a pen and paper, you can write, I mean, if you got a computer, you can type, it's just one of those things that I hope in this time, it's always like in the midst of crisis, all these beautiful things are created. So I feel like when we finally turn the corner with this, all these people are going to have all these amazing projects written and all these amazing things that they've created. Like these tech geniuses are going to come up with something that's going to change our life. It's all going to come because we've had time.
Exactly. Oh, so with not the movie anymore. Now it's a TV show. With The Order.
Yeah.
Can you give the fans a little gist of what The Order is about for the people that haven't read the comic or haven't been updated on this kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, The Order is a group. They are basically, they shadow the FBI and the CIA, and so they're not good guys, they're not bad guys. They basically have been put into a situation where they work for the council, and they do these different missions, and they kind of change the course of how life is happening or unfolding in order to restore order. So if there's something in the world that's happening, like if this was like the coronavirus, they would have, they might go in and affect the way that the vaccine is created or the way that it's distributed. They might do something that shifts the way things that happen. And for them, like I say, they're not good guys or bad guys, because sometimes when you're restoring order and when you're trying to make things right, then it could be some gray area, or you have to do something bad in order to accomplish this good. So they end up being, this group that kind of goes through the motions. And I think that one thing of knowing that they're not good and knowing that they're not bad kind of sits differently with each member and with each member's past and how they became a member of the Order. And so as the story progresses, and we've kind of alluded to this, there are going to be some people that split ranks and they are going to go against each other. So there's actually a trailer you can watch it on YouTube, but you see us fighting each other, and they were like, Power Rangers Civil War. And I was like, well, there are good guys and there are bad guys, and not everybody you think that would, that you loved on the show is good. I made them bad for a reason.
So now I think is a perfect time for my impromptu audition for The Order. All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh man,
I know, it's pretty awesome.
If I was somebody that you were supposed to be pitching to, OMG, I would have. Yeah, I'll give you 5 seasons now.
Make them
right now, right? Okay, from your mouth to God's ears. That's what I need.
Right. I don't know who I have to talk to, but I will mail this interview out to everybody.
Please.
I don't know who I have to talk to, but I'm going to talk to anybody.
Well, we're hitting everybody. Like I was telling everyone, I said the cool thing about a television show is that there is, there's obviously like the major networks, but there's also Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus. I mean, it's so many.
And The Order, it just rolls off the tongue. The Order, Netflix original. I mean,
well, I have to say this. we had to change the name because Netflix has a show called The Order.
They do have the call.
And we were like, oh shoot, but it's okay. So the name has actually been changed. I haven't told anybody what the new name is, but it's funny because those people got in touch with us and they were like, can you give us the Instagram? And I was like, why? I can sell it to you. I'm trying to make my own project. So it's hilarious because we have The Order and they have some other, but yeah, there's a show called The Order. So we've actually changed the name, but it's still in line with what is happening, all the same things are still there.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, Karen, before we get off here, there's one thing that we're going to do. We do it with we've done it from our live stream, and we're going to do it right now. It is our lightning round of favorites. We're going to lightning round answer as quick as you can with however many favorites you can think of, okay? So
sounds good.
First one, favorite cookie.
Chocolate chip.
Favorite TV show.
Oh man, there's too many. I can't pick one. Like I literally,
we're here to ask the hard questions.
I watch stuff like Killing Eve. I watch stuff like Power. I watch Downton Abbey. Like it's like my I am a TV show watcher. Like I love television and yeah, there's no way I have a new favorite every week.
I get you on that one. Okay. All right. Favorite board game.
Monopoly.
Favorite
Scrabble. Game. Yeah, one of the two. Scrabble or Monopoly. Monopoly.
We narrowed it down to Monopoly.
Favorite card game.
Card game. Oh, wow. I just learned this one. Phase 10.
Oh, Phase 10's great.
Nakia Maurice taught me Phase 10, and we're like addicted.
I love Phase 10.
This one's the doozy. Favorite hardware store. Yeah, that we ask everybody that. So just we need to know.
Home Depot. I mean, I don't.
Yes, Home Depot. I knew I liked you, Karen. Home Depot.
Yeah. Favorite fast food place.
McDonald's. I mean,
classic.
I mean, it's like I can get a chicken nugget or a quarter pounder. It's like one of the two.
Thank you, McDonald's.
Very nice.
Favorite home cooked meal.
Macaroni and cheese.
Ooh, classic.
Yeah. Or enchiladas. Like it depends on. I'm half Mexican and half black, so it depends on what side of the family I'm on.
Okay.
All right. I know that you've been around the world and you've been around the country. Favorite place you've been to?
Oh, Australia. Sydney, Australia. Yeah, we shot the movie there, and it's honestly one of the best places. If you ever get a chance to travel, go there. And they speak English, so it's a very easy place to go to,
That's one of my all-time.
It's hard when you don't speak the language.
That's I have a relative that moved to Australia recently, so and I plan on going to see her at some point.
Yes, save your money, do it, because it's so awesome.
What he meant
so
to
awesome.
That we're planning on.
Yeah.
you can meet me out there. We'll figure it out.
This one's the doozy. This one is what really gets everybody. Favorite movie. Yeah, that sigh. It's
so hard. It's like
sigh. Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna say Black Panther because it just made me feel so powerful. Yeah.
Wakanda forever.
Right on.
Wakanda. I know. It was just so like everything. It was everything that like a little girl like me was looking for in my childhood. So. I finally got it though. Like I was like, this is how fans felt when they saw Power Rangers. Like because they come up to me and they go, "I never saw a girl with braids, and you were everything." And I was like, when I saw Wakanda, I was like, I never saw a place so wonderful. Like I watched that movie a million times.
I love Black Panther. Give it to Chadwick. I love Chadwick. But now, thanks to Disney, Shuri is officially a Disney princess. And I love it.
Oh, I know. It's so like, but isn't that awesome? Like, we need all of that, you know? And I think that's why it did so well is because everybody, we want all of that. We want to celebrate it. We want all of it, you know. And it's just a really good action film too. So I can't wait for.
Yeah, it's just an excellent movie all around. Yeah.
I'm waiting for all of it. Like I am in Marvel. Like I watched every single one. I'm waiting for the next one. I'm waiting for the TV shows. I'm waiting for all of it. So Black Panther is one of my favorites, but I'm a huge, huge fan of all of it. So.
All right.
Right on.
And probably the question that may split some of your colleagues apart. Your favorite Ranger?
Tweet Train, the original Yellow Ranger.
All right.
She got the party started. Trini.
There you go.
Trini's my favorite.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, Karen, we thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of you guys. This
First
was
guest.
fun. You guys did really well. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would have never known it was your first.
Well, look at that. You hear that,
Yeah.
folks? Coming from Karan Ashley herself.
We're good. We're good interviewers.
We're killing it.
You're doing really well. Honestly, you did. You did great. It's all, I mean, I always say, like, when you interview people and being a host, it's all about connecting and just having a conversation. And you guys did that. So, good job.
Thank you, Ashley, for being on the
Yeah.
show. Thank you so much for the words of encouragement and the questions that were answered. We love you. And to all of you guys out there, we'll be right back.
Morphin time.
Yeah! This is a good show, right? This is a good show, yeah! Let's give it up for Karan Ashley again. All right. Okay, let's give it up for the Cantina Band one more time. Let's give another round of applause for Dustin, tying the knot today. There we go. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, give us a like, and hey, if there's a celebrity interview that you guys want to see us do, or a comedy sketch that you want to see us recreate or just do, put it in the comment section. Let us know. We want to hear from you guys. We love you. We love you. Be safe, and good night.